TCI is brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, home of Malibu Moon, AP Indy's leading son year after year.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Breeders' Cup. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Joel, we're out here at Keeneland. We're looking at the stars of tomorrow. There's already been some fireworks here this week. You know, it's a perfect lead into launching our top fives for the juveniles. And let's start off with the juvenile fillies. I see here at number 5, you have Concave. She's a graded stakes winner, already grade 1 placed. You got her in at number 5. Tell me why.
Well, John, she's a daughter from the first crop of Colonel John. We know Colonel John from that Tisnow line. He was late maturing, got better the older he got, and got better the further he got. And the filly is already a grade 2 winner in California. I thought she ran respectably in the Del Mar debutante last time out. When she stretches out around 2 turns, I'm counting on her to show that class and maybe even get better as she develops going a mile and 16.
All right, staying out there with the California 2-year-olds. In at number 4, you have JoJo Warrior. Yeah. This filly has said that she's the most impressive maiden winner out there at the meet. Tell me, what do you think?
Well, that's what Simon Bray thought from TVG. I certainly wouldn't disagree at all. There's a lot of buzz on this filly before she ever ran. She's out of a good family. My only question is, when you look at that mare, Carson Jen, and what she's produced, her best runners have been around 1 turn, 7 to 8 furlongs, around 1 turn. So it'd be interesting to see how far she can stretch that speed out, but she has grade 1 quality, no doubt.
All right, then at number 3, you have Untappable. This filly was very impressive in the Pocahontas at Churchill Downs.
When she's undefeated, now that's at Churchill Downs, but for her to have basically over a 2-month layoff, come back, first time around 2 turns, was a little ranked down the back stretch, for her to gamely run down a pretty good filly there in Stone-tastic, in my opinion. That race was faster than the Iroquois, so I think that this filly is well-bred. You know, she's a half to Patio Prado. Distance won't be a concern. She's obviously precocious. These Taffet fillies are. Steve Asmussen loves her, and you have to have her in the top 3.
All right, the next 2, I'm a little surprised. I thought you might flip-flop them. You got a grade 1 winner in at number 2 with Sweet Reason. You got Fascinating, a horse that's yet to break her maiden, in at number 1.
Yeah, Sweet Reason, obviously the spin-away winner. That was in the slot, but she's been very fast in both of her races. She's by street scent, should be able to handle 2 turns. A lot of people may have her number 1 right now. They turned down a lot of money for this filly. She looks very good, should handle a mile and 16, John, but she's East Coast based. So I'm going to go for a West Coast based filly right now, and that's Fascinating. Bob Baffert, home track, half the Bodemeister. She keeps getting better and better. And what's interesting is she's just a maiden right now, but she has that pedigree and that style. When you watch her and how well she finished in the Del Mar debutante, out kicking Concave to the wire, and obviously she's a tiger, a sprinter type filly, got loose in there, wound up winning. But Fascinating, around 2 turns with more experience, has a ton of upside. That's why I have her at number 1.
All right, let's move now to the Colts. You know, it's the same kind of situation here. You see some maiden winners and some experienced horses. We start right off with a maiden winner. He's by the right sire in Warfront.
Yeah, Warfront obviously has a couple on our list, and we'll talk about that in a second, but Mosler's the first one. He was $1 million yearling. Now, my question with Mosler is, he won second time out in typical Belmont fashion, ran respectable in his debut, won second time out at Belmont, going a mile, and he looks like he's going to handle the distance to me, especially the middle distance, has some quality. My question is, how aggressive will they get with him? He's owned by Claiborne, campaigned by trainer Belmont. They may go more the Remsen route, kind of stay off the path of the Breeders' Cup, enforcing that type of campaign, shipping them all the way to California. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. So I don't know if he's going to run in the Breeders' Cup, be pointed towards it, but he's good enough for me to make the top 5 right now.
All right, and at number 4, you have Cam the Man, a very impressive 2-year-old here. He was a sales topper out at Barrett's. Joel, he looks like he's really good. He had some trouble in his last race and still finished well.
I think he's California's most promising 2-year-old right now. He's from the Bob Baffert barn. He was a sale topping 2-year-old. You know, you look at that mare Smolensk. He's a spendthrift bred horse. They sold him as a weanling. You look at that Danzig mare Smolensk. A lot of her runners have excelled around 2 turns. Can the Man, you know, you look at Into Mischief. He did well with Golden Sense, at least getting a mile and a 16th distance. You know, Vijack as well. So I think the distance won't be a problem for the Breeders' Cup with Can the Man. I thought he ran green last time out, still ran a good race for Bob Baffert. He thinks a lot of this colt, and we know he will point for the Breeders' Cup. I think that crop of 2-year-olds is a little light right now in California, particularly the Colts, but Can the Man might be the best.
All right, and at number 3 here, you have Due Diligence. I don't know very much about this horse. Tell me about him, why you got him in at number 3.
He's the other Warfront. Coolmore just bought into this colt after an impressive debut. Now, that was sprinting on the turf, so he's going to have to show that he can be a Breeders' Cup horse on the main track around 2 turns. But if you look at his dam, she was a 2-turn stakes winner on the dirt. So a colt with a lot of promise. Todd Pletcher Coolmore's moved him to Todd Pletcher's barn. Chad Brown broke the maiden with the colt. I just think he has a ton of talent, and he belongs in the top 3 based on his talent. It'd be interesting to see what they do with him.
All right, in at number 2 and number 1, again, I'm going to say this again. These 2 horses could flip-flop in here, in my opinion. You got a Grade 1 winner and then a maiden winner here. You got Honor Code in at number 1.
Well, I think the East Coast Colts stand out over the California Colts in terms of talent at this point. And you look at Strong Mandate, obviously Tisnow, out of, he's a half the Newfoundland who ran 1.25 miles. You look at that dam side, he's going to get the distance, John. Just be a matter of, how much he has left in the tank. He's run 2 big races already. He's going to have a tough campaign, come back in the Champaign. I personally think number 1 is a standout. I mean, you want to talk about a horse with the pedigree to be a star of tomorrow. We talked about Fascinating. Well, let's look at the colt number 1, Honor Code. I mean, the Shug McGahee horse, the way he finished in his debut, the professionalism he showed from off the pace, and the turn of foot. When you look at that pedigree, AP Indy, and you look at a big, good-looking colt with a pretty way of moving. He kind of has that low head carriage like the good AP Indies. To me, he could be a breed-changing type colt, John. A very promising star tomorrow, and he belongs number 1.
All right, thank you, Joel. Now let's talk about, we got a lot of winning ins this weekend. Tell me, what are you looking at in Woodbine, and what do you think in the Woodbine Mile?
Well, the Woodbine Mile is the big race. I mean, there's several winning your ins, some 2-year-old winning your ins there for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf races. But when you think about this weekend in Canada, it's defending champion Wise Dan up there. And they run a 1-turn mile there, but he has a tactical speed. He loves it, John. I really expect a big performance from Wise Dan because I look at his competition this year and the probables for that race, it's really not that good of a group. He should win this race. May run back at Keeneland like he did last time out, and then be your favorite again in the Breeders' Cup Mile, depending on what Europeans come over. And if they bring Dawn Approach or some of these other top European milers, I'd be interested to see how Wise Dan stacks up, but he's the focus horse this weekend.
All right, thank you, Joel. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll recap the Woodbine Mile, and we'll also get you caught up on the rest of the top 5s.
Bet with TwinSpires.com and you can earn exclusive access to Kentucky Derby tickets. Wager at least $2,000 on races from Churchill Downs tracks or $4,000 total in September to earn VIP status. But only at TwinSpires.com.